Welcome to Dawgs versus All Y'all, a weekly college football podcast where we discuss not only my favorite team, the Georgia Bulldogs, but we talk all things college football, hence all y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and look us up on Instagram at SuplexDinnerClub. And go Dawgs. Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to update our hunting season 12 to decide who are the 12 best teams in the nation. And we're going to preview Georgia's upcoming game against Mizzou. So let's go ahead and get to it. It's Monday, y'all. You know what that means. Who are the 12 best teams in the nation? Let's get to the list.
We ain't getting hunted, guys. We're doing the hunting, and hunting season's almost over. We only got one more chance to hunt, and we hunted tonight.
Hunting season 12. We got a couple new faces. Number 12 is going to be Oregon State. They're one of the Pac-12 teams that only have one loss. They are in the race for that Pac-12 championship. They got some big games coming up, but I really enjoy what I'm seeing out of that, what Coach Smith is actually doing with that team. And most importantly, their quarterback play. DJ Uiagalelei, he's probably the comeback player of the year for me. He went from the outhouse there at Clemson to being in the penthouse there in Corvallis. Number 11 is going to be Oklahoma, who suffered the upset there in Kansas. They're still a talented team. They're still scoring. And they only have one loss there in the Big 12. So they're definitely not out of the race. Now Big 12 football is probably going to be a little bit more on the radar of everyone because now you got one loss Texas, you got one loss Oklahoma, and you got a couple other teams like Kansas State still in the mix. Oklahoma State is having a surprise season. They're in the hunt. Number 10 is going to be Penn State. They just had a very competitive fight against Indiana, but they pulled off the win, so they have rebounded from that loss to Ohio State. Number 9 is going to be Ole Miss, followed by number 8, Alabama. Both SEC West teams are in the hunt to see who's going to represent the SEC West in the SEC Championship. Alabama has a very, very important game that we will talk about on Friday. Spoiler alert. Oregon's going to be your number 7 team. They had an impressive showing against Utah. They went up to Salt Lake City and took care of business just like a top team should. Their eyes are still on the prize of not only going to the Pac-12 championship, but hopefully getting to the playoffs. They're still one of my playoff picks, I believe. Let's get to the top 6. Number 6 is Texas, followed by number 5, Washington. Both of these teams struggled a bit, but they pulled off their wins. Texas has their backup quarterback, Malik Murphy. He's going to get more comfortable. You look at the kid, he's physically gifted. I watched him in their spring game. He can make the throws. He's talented. Let's see how many more weeks they have until Quinn Ewers is back. Number 4 is going to be Ohio State. They were in a rock fight a majority of this game against Wisconsin. I'm seeing questions about Kyle McCord, but I'm telling you he's the best option at quarterback. That's a very talented team. And don't sleep on that defense. That Ohio State defense is showing up and showing out. And shout out to Marvin Harrison. I hope he's okay. I saw he did get injured. He's the best wide receiver in the nation. And I'm going to go ahead and say the dude's going to be in New York for the Heisman Trophy, as long as they beat Michigan. Your number 3 team and number 2 team, Florida State, followed by the University of Georgia. Both of these teams, frankly, dominated their opposition. Florida State went to Wake Forest and waxed those guys, showed them there are definitely levels to it. They look like a motivated team, ready to make the playoff. Georgia, we took care of our opponent. It's always a great day when you can say that you smacked up on the Florida Gators. And still the number 1 team in the hunting season 12, the Michigan Wolverines. They had a bye this week, and when I say timing couldn't have been any better, considering this sign stealing allegations and controversy and all that, that team has to get it together, ignore the outside noise, and keep the main thing the main thing. Simple as that. This week they play against Purdue After they smack those guys, they got some big matchups coming up. Penn State, Maryland, and of course, Ohio State. Can Michigan take care of business and remain undefeated going into the Big Ten championship? We shall see. So y'all let me know down below. Should Michigan still be the #1 team in the nation, even with the cheating allegations? Or should it be the Georgia Bulldogs, who went into Jacksonville and waxed those Gators? If you haven't already, look us up on socials at SuplexDinnerClub. That's the home of 2 podcast projects that I work on. Mondays, Fridays, we talk college football on Dawgs versus All Y'all. We don't just talk about Georgia football. We talk about all things college football, hence All Y'all. And on Wednesdays, you know the vibes, Life and Times Pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met through my years in the hospitality industry. Let me know down below, what team are you representing? The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I want to know more about you guys. 3:30 on CBS, you have the Mizzou Tigers traveling to Athens, Georgia to face the #1 team in the nation, the Georgia Bulldogs. At the beginning of the season, there wasn't much national buzz to this game. True, last season, that Mizzou team brought it to Georgia, challenged them for at least 2 quarters, and then Georgia got to business and pulled out the win. I was freaking out. That was the night of my bachelor party. I had other things on my mind, but nonetheless, that was a very strange game. I will say this about Mizzou. Very talented team. Very talented team. Coach Eli Drinkwitz has done a very good job over this past couple seasons of truly building a competitive team, a competitive SEC team. He's recruited at a level unlike many of his predecessors, and honestly, he has his team focused and confident and truly believing that whatever other team sets foot on that field has to see them. That says a lot about the kind of motivator he is. And I will say this, out of all the teams that Georgia has already faced and the teams that remain on Georgia's schedule, this Mizzou offense is the most complete and probably the most problematic. I've watched Mizzou all season because I have some personal investment in some of those players. It's a very talented offense, very problematic. Think about the type of quarterback that has presented the most issues for a Kirby Smart-led Georgia team. Smart, can move around, can make most of the throws, but is overall a gritty player. So I'm looking at Bryce Young, Joe Burrow, hell, Sam Ehlinger back in that Sugar Bowl. I'm thinking of those kind of quarterbacks. And Brady Cook is one of those type of quarterbacks. Maybe not to the level of a Bryce Young or a Joe Burrow, but he's an intelligent guy who can move around and can make most of the throws. He's having a terrific season so far. Mizzou has done a terrific job in having the right weapons surround Brady Cook. When you have a wide receiver like Luther Burden, there's no throw that you don't think you can't make. You just throw it up. When you have that kind of talent at wideout, the possibilities are endless as a quarterback. But it's not just Luther on that team. You have a number of wide receivers. I love Mookie. Mookie is awesome. He's a great player. I love Johnson. He's a talented, fast receiver. And while a lot of the national focus on this Mizzou team are on those wide receivers, which makes sense, Luther Burden is a freak show, Mizzou has a very talented running game. Cody Schrader's a talented back. He's one of those compact, patient runners, and he's been getting the ball consistently. I think the last couple games he's been carrying the ball over 20 times. He's getting solid yardage. that can deem problematic for this Georgia team. When you're able to run the ball effectively, protect your quarterback for the most part, as well as move him around in situations where he can run the ball, that's a dangerous offense. And I would go ahead and say, I know that Kirby has spent weeks preparing for this team, no matter what he tells the media. Our offensive line is going to have some challenges. The past 2 seasons in particular against Mizzou, that defensive line has presented challenges to the offensive line. And I don't expect much different this year. The key to victory for Georgia, protect Carson Beck. Make sure that Mizzou's defensive line isn't getting in his face, affecting throws, and definitely affecting his confidence. Carson's confidence has been growing week after week. I expect it to continue to grow. I expect him to get the ball out. He has some opportunities for some big shots against this Missouri defensive backfield. Get the ball to Dom Lovett, a former Mizzou Tiger, who I know is going to be personally motivated to make some plays against his former teammates. And let's keep this thing going. I expect a competitive first half with these two teams. But then after halftime, Georgia's going to make the adjustments, and we're going to clamp down on that Mizzou offense. And I got another win for the Dawgs. Final score, Mizzou 24, Georgia 38. Mizzou has had a terrific season so far. They're a very talented team, very well balanced. They execute at an exceptional rate, and they're extremely talented. But to come into Athens in that sellout crowd at Sanford Stadium and pull off the upset, I don't see it happening. But y'all let me know in the comments. What's your score prediction? And also, who's your player of the game? And that's a wrap on episode 31. Thank you again for checking us out. Come back on Friday. We're going to preview the must-see game of the weekend. And I'm going to offer my thoughts on these Michigan allegations. Y'all have a wonderful Halloween. Have fun. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you on Friday. And as always, go Dawgs.
Your ass is prepared for this shit for fucking 365 days. I think about the fucking that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game, now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Ain't nobody's going to be cautious. Ain't nobody's going to be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Box said on Monday? When I sat in that fucking meeting, I wanted to go fucking play right then. Tore your shit up out here. 2 years ago, fuck your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy. Tell me you fuck these guys up. You go play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with the ball. The shit's easy. Look at the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go.